Congratulations! You've connected with the Pulpit Perspectives Podcast. Join Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy as he connects with pastors where they preach, literally at the pulpit of their church. It's a point of view with purpose and personality that informs and inspires with real-life stories from great preachers you need to know. Your host is Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy. Let's join Kent at a pulpit with a fresh perspective from his guest preacher.
Hello and welcome to Pulpit Perspectives Podcast. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy. Pulpit Perspectives Podcast exists to create connections among clergy and their congregation. I'm coming to you today from Clay United Methodist Church in South Bend, Indiana, and standing in the chancel with their appointed associate pastor, Carolyn Wirtz Poelstra. Welcome to Pulpit Perspectives Podcast.
Thanks, Kent. I'm happy to be here.
And I just have to say that I've noticed you have a Garrett sweatshirt on.
I do.
Tell me about that.
Well, I am currently enrolled at Garrett, getting my Master's of Divinity. I'm doing 6 credit hours, so 2 classes at a time. It's going to take me a little while to get through, but I'm having a great time. I'm taking Intro to Hebrew Bible right now and Theology of Evangelism. So they're 2 pretty different classes, but it's working my brain in a couple of different ways. So I'm having a good time.
Yes. Well, I have a special place in my heart for Garrett Evangelical Theological Seminary. So that is very nice to see. So how long have you been here at Clay?
My husband and I came to Clay April 2022, right after Clay. It was the first Sunday that Clay was open after COVID. So we started attending April 2022. We took membership in August. It was a really quick, we fell in love with Clay and the congregation, became members in August. And then I had been called to ministry many times in my life. And so April, almost exactly a year later, April or May 2023, I finally answered that call to ministry. And here we are, April 2024, and I'm appointed associate pastor here. So the Lord works in mysterious ways, and God has just continued to pursue me throughout my life, and I'm happy to be here at Clay.
Thank you for saying yes.
Thanks be to God for pursuing me.
Well, it's a partnership.
Yes.
Yes. So what are you celebrating?
I am celebrating all of the ministries that are happening here at Clay. We have really exciting missions that happen here. Our food pantry serves over 1,000 people every month. I'm working on some personal projects that are really important, really special to me. Here at Clay, we're working on launching a fresh expression. So it's been kind of in the works since last year's annual conference. Pastor Brian said to me, this is something I would like for you to explore, kind of put the ball in my court, let me do some thinking. And we did some dinner conversations with a couple members of the congregation. So in the fall, we're looking at launching sort of a soft launch, a fresh expression of Clay Church that really invites people into homes and allows them to explore their faith. People who are experiencing doubt or maybe are de-churched or have experienced church hurt in the past, to give them the opportunity to be in a safe place and ask those types of questions and engage in those sort of deep conversations. In case they might not be ready to step foot inside a church to actually make that step to join a whole congregation, but they would be ready to have some conversations in a small group sort of style.
That sounds very Acts-ish.
Yes, it is very Acts-ish. And we've been in this Acts Go series that we are launching. We just launched after Easter. So all of these things are really working together really well. And taking this Theology of Evangelism class, I'm fully immersed in the evangelism right now.
Wow. All right. So who nurtured your call to ministry?
Pastor Brian definitely nurtured my call to ministry. I kind of hinted at, I had been wrestling with call for a really, really long time. I don't know if I've shared with you, but I grew up in a pretty conservative church. And so I actually felt called to ministry for the first time when I was 14, but wasn't really in a church that really gave women the space to explore that. So I told myself that I was being prideful for thinking that God would call little old me to ministry. And so it took 14 years really for me to finally answer my call. But when I was here and I felt that call so strongly, like that voice was so familiar to me. And I felt like, okay, now I'm in a place where I'm safe and I can have these types of conversations. And I mean, Brian just took me under his wing and has been just an incredible mentor to me in ministry.
Thanks be to God for Brian Duran.
Amen.
And for you saying yes. Yeah. So what do you do for fun?
I'm a runner. I love to be outdoors. So actually, I'm going to be going camping this weekend. So I'm going to be spending lots of time running on the trails. My husband and I are really active together at the gym. So if I'm not running, I am seeing just how much I can lift and push and pull and, strengthening keeping like my joints, my everything strong so that throughout my life, I'll be able to keep active.
That is very wise. Good on you. Yeah. So what is your go-to Bible verse?
That's a great question.
That's okay. Or Bible story or book of the Bible. Or Bible person.
Bible person. Oh, well, I love Deborah.
Oh, Deborah.
I love the story of Judges, but I love Deborah as far as her capacity for leadership. And that's something that I really admire as a woman in ministry.
Right. If she could do it then, you could do it now.
Yes.
Yes. Deborah. Thank God for Deborah. What a witness. Who or what keeps you humble?
Oh, man. Well, just being here in this incredible congregation, I think helps to keep me humble. I just preach about once a month, but I think that I'm just perpetually humbled that I'm here. Mm-hmm. Like my history, my background, the way that the Lord has worked through me is just so incredible to me. Like, I cannot believe that God would call me to be here. And I can't believe that God continues to call me and pursue me. And so being here and being in this with this congregation and being in a position of leading this congregation is just so incredible and unbelievable for me.
Wow. Yes. I hear humility, but I also hear gratitude.
So grateful. Yes.
Right. If you only had one preacher to listen to the rest of your life, so one preacher, you only get one preacher to listen to the rest of your life, who would that be?
It would be Pastor Brian.
Pastor Brian.
Yes, he's so good.
Okay.
I just hang on to every word. I'm like a sponge.
Okay. All right. Pastor Brian Duran. Have to check him out if you haven't heard him already. So who are you, Mary or Martha?
Ooh, I think I would be Mary. I just want to sit at the feet of Jesus.
Just chilling out.
Just want to take it all in.
Sponge.
I'm a learner. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Yes. Mary is a great example for us to slow down and be still before the Lord. Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm also a little bit of a busybody, but I just feel the closest to God when I'm just like here at the feet of Jesus,
To be still at the feet. Yeah. So who from the Bible would you like to go axe throwing with?
I feel like it's cheating to say, I would go with Jesus, but I think that I would go with Peter. I have just always felt this relationship to Peter. Like, Peter is like so full of doubt, but also so full of love for Jesus. He's like, God, if this is really you, call me out of the boat, get out. And Jesus is like, Peter, get out of the boat, come follow me. And so even though like when life gets crazy and the storms are rough and the waters are blowing and, Jesus still says, get out of the boat and come to me on the water. So I think that I would want to go axe throwing with Peter and pick his brain about that.
So you'd want to have a conversation with him while you were throwing axe?
Yes.
Would he be any good at throwing axes?
Well, that's a whole different question. I don't know if he'd be any good at throwing axes. I feel like, I don't know, people who are, fishermen, are they any, maybe. I think you have to have good aim, probably.
Oh.
Throwing nets, throwing axes.
Yeah, that motion. Right. Or if you thought, no, he's not any good, so I'll compete against him
True, right.
while we're talking.
Well, I'm terrible at throwing axes. I've done it once before. It's so fun, but I'm so terrible at it. So maybe he could give me some pointers.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, that is fun to imagine. So what is your favorite church season?
Oh, I love Lent. I don't know if that might be unpopular, but I love Lent. I love those 40 days of concentration. I said I'm a learner. So this 40 days of like concentrated learning and opportunity to dig into scripture and service, like that, to me, that's what being a United Methodist is all about, the learning and the engagement and the mission. So I love Lent personally.
Okay. That's a good one. Yeah. So what do you hope your fellow clergy know? What do you hope your fellow clergy know?
I hope that my fellow clergy know just how important their work is. I know there are days that are really challenging and the hours are long, but I hope that they know how much people like me who came out of the local church into ministry, how very important their work is and how much people like me really appreciate the way that they engage with their congregations and mentor us and guide us and just walk through life with us.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah. So last question. You get 3 words.
Okay.
3 words to encapsulate the future of your pastoral leadership here at Clay United Methodist Church, however long that is. So what 3 words come to mind when you think about your future as being an associate pastor here?
Hopeful, growth, prophetic, I hope.
Hopeful, growth, and prophetic.
I hope so.
Hopeful, growth, and prophetic. Well, Carolyn, that will be my hope and my prayer for you as you continue to serve this incredible congregations. Thank you so much for being a guest on Pulpit Perspectives Podcast.
Well, thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So Pulpit Perspectives Podcast exists to create connections among clergy and their colleagues, as well as their churches. I'm your host, Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy. If you want to see all the good things that God is doing within the life of churches in the United Methodist Church in the North District, I would invite you to check out the North District Facebook page, as well as check out the North District page on the Indiana Annual Conference website of www.inumc.org. God is on the move in the North District. So this has been Pulpit Perspectives Podcast, and your host, Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy, signing off for now.
There you have it, a fresh perspective from the pulpit with a great preacher. You know you want to hear more. You can do just that by connecting with Pulpit Perspectives with Reverend Dr. Kent Lundy on Apple Podcast and Spotify, where you can like and follow the podcast. What's more, you can spread the good news about Pulpit Perspectives in your church and with your neighbors. Plan now on joining Kent at the pulpit, where you'll meet another great preacher on Pulpit Perspectives.